might actually be the swan song of two of the greatest footballers to ever currently gracing the game. That is Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. So it is a World Cup that has a lot of history to be made of. It is a World Cup that has a lot of enthusiasm. There has been a lot to be looked for. And I will just go through the group stages real quick. We have Group A, which has Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, and Netherlands. We have Group B, which has England, Iran, USA, and Wales. Group C, which has Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland. Group D has France, Australia, Denmark, and Tunisia. Group E has Spain, Costa Rica, Germany, and Japan. Group F has Belgium, Canada, Morocco, Croatia. Group G has Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, Cameroon. And Group H has Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and Korea. Remember the last winners of the last World Cup of France? But I just want to bring it back to the studio. Gentlemen, I would just like for you to quickly at least give me who you think is your favorite, who you think is going to go up with the whole team, and then we can start analyzing the different groups.
One day. Now, I have two favorites in this World Cup. One is the emotional one, and the second one is the practical one. You know, we all have an emotional team that we love. So my emotional my emotional favorite is Senegal. I know Sadio Mane has had an injury. I hope he's gonna be well enough to play from the first game in the World Cup. But my emotional favorite is Senegal. I think Senegal will be the surprise package of this one. Their defenders, their keepers, it's a very deep team. And of course, you know that Brazilian style of play where defenders attack. I'm expecting to see very exciting football from them, and I expect them to win the World Cup. So those are my two favorites, Micah. Senegal, emotional favorite, and the practical favorite from just watching soccer and knowing the game, Brazil. Micah.
All right, let's go to Bandio, and then we go to Omosh and Uno.
Uno alikuwa amenifinyia microphone.
Saitan.
Brazil nafikiri nawapa big chance. France wana chance kidogo, but I think Brazil wana nafasi kubwa ya kufanya vizuri. Hata siko na hizo za emotional. Mi emotions zangu nishaziacha.
Omosh. Don't point at me. You've been ready. Tena mimi nonsense. Ndio niwekee bonoko hapa.
Unajua kwa sababu kuna base ati ukuja hapa una nini. You can see me after class.
Saitan.
Useless.
Okay.
Zibuni swali na muendelea.
Sorry.
Ni Omosh si mimi.
Mtapeleka huko.
I actually wish that like Ali had said either Senegal or what's our no.
Okay.
Or a Makaburu.
South Africans?
We don't do Makaburus.
Oh.
To be realistic, I wish that Argentina would do it because of Messi. So at least he gets something. But going into every single World Cup, it's Brazil's to lose. So, with that said, all of those things that I've said, first pick is Argentina, second is Brazil.
Me, I've got two African teams. Well, maybe three, but I'll do two. First, I'll go with France.
Maybe three, but I'll do two. First, I'll go with France.
Who called the
Zoom.
Ni Zoom?
Yes.
Okay. Kuna mtu anafanya madhogodhanio kwa Zoom.
Unasema
I think Ali anajaribu kufanya madoido kwa Zoom or whatever.
He was doing
I don't know what he's trying to do.
He has a board over there.
He might be.
No, by the way, Angalieni, your live link, I'm not sure whether
no, the live link is fine.
The live link is fine.
Please.
It is you who's
stop interrupting us.
It's you who's not live.
Okay, your name is not live in your disclosed location.
multitasker.
Multitasker kwenda huko Saitan.
Twende na African team.
So me, my two, I've got 2 African teams. France, and yes, I am going to put Senegal over there. But on a distant third. A distant. Nila tu naomba. Ile distant Ghana. You are distant. The Ghana. A distant.
If Ghana can be disciplined, and that's always their issue, if they can be disciplined, because they have everything, is your discipline. See you Onagi.
Senegal.
Man, without money there.
No, money yuko. Mika, twende kazi.
Si walisema alikuwa amekufa.
No, money anaenda.
Hii inakuwa kama ile ya nani ya David Beckham.
Okay.
Haya, Mika, na wewe yako ni gani wewe?
Hata kama watamfunga na nini? Na blada. Watamfunga na blada ataenda tu.
Yuko.
Acha tusikie za Mika.
Sorry Mika, go ahead.
Honestly, for me, this tournament, the Badia myself, putting logic, Brazil are actually the favorites. I would say the second favorite is Argentina. And I will not be surprised if a team that is well oiled and drilled like the Netherlands.
But it's going to be hard, yeah.
Like the Netherlands and
groups.
Who else cares? Like the Netherlands or the Germans also come in with a shout. But I put the 2 South American teams, and then I'll put those 2 European teams, and then the rest of the teams.
Well, na Belgium, by the way, the way they are loaded.
By the South Americans, does he mean Ecuador? Or does he mean, because that's also South American, ama mimi ndio kichwa mbaya.
Amesema tu 2.
I said the 2 South
American teams.
Argentina and yeah.
So the other team is also South American, the other nini?
They are, but he picked 2 out of.
Sorry.
So
na kirikari huyu mayagai. Sorry, to na Beremika.
Okay, so moving on again to let's and please, I don't care if you have 10 teams. Let's just be quick and fast as we move on from here. So for Group A, we have Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, and Netherlands. 2 teams advanced from there. I want to say again, we go the same round robin. Everybody 30 seconds utuambie timu gani mbili unaona zikitoka kwa hiyo group na zikimove on. So Group A, we have Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, Netherlands. Ali.
Very easy for me, this group. Netherlands and Senegal. However, I'll put a caveat. Be careful with Qatar. They're playing at home. Any team that's playing at home can be very dangerous. But I comfortably say Netherlands and Senegal.
Netherlands and Senegal.
Ecuador, Senegal.
Oh, shit.
That's mental na Qatar, Ecuador.
Qatar and Ecuador?
Yes.
Okay, so
I would say Ecuador and Netherlands.
Okay.
Group B, we have England, Iran, USA, and Wales.
Nianze mimi. England and USA. Alafu wengine wataiga.
Wales and England.
Hii sinarekodiwa
Narekodiwa.
Okay.
Wales and England, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, and I hope Mika unaziandika ndo mtu asirudi kusema si kusema.
No, kwenye review tutacheza sound bites.
Haina ngori.
Game zote nimechagua zinakwenda.
Saitan.
England, USA.
I'll also go England, USA. You know, Bandio alikuwa tayari ashaona mwa Kenya yangu akakuja fast kujifanya kutubenda.
Haya Mika.
I would say England, USA. Group C has Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland.
Jesus Christ.
Of course, I would say Argentina.
Mexico.
I'm gonna go with Poland. Although emotionally, I wanna go with Mexico, but I'll go with Argentina, Poland.
Ali, hivi emotion uviache kwanza kwenye hizi mechi.
It's Ali.
Hey, it's emotion, man.
No,
Argentina, Mexico.
Okay.
Argentina, Mexico.
Argentina, Mexico.
I will go with Ali, Argentina, Poland. Group D, we have France, Australia, Denmark, Tunisia.
Son of a tongue, guys.
Okay, this one, I go France, Tunisia.
Ali.
It's okay.
You're Tunisian emotion.
It's okay.
Inedibles.
It's okay.
Hapana, you're emotional. France, Tunisia. Hakuna emotions hapo.
France,
okay.
France,
Hiyo ni moja
Denmark.
solid sana.
France, Denmark.
Omosh.
Man,
Omosh,
I
unajua mimi
have
ndio
to
niko
come
sawa.
before these sugary people. France, Denmark.
France, Denmark.
Copy paste.
I'm with France, Denmark too.
Haya.
Group E, we have Spain, Costa Rica, Germany, Japan.
Hii mbona
Hii group itakuwa
hii mbona
mwaki.
kama tayari ni
Lakini-
semi-final.
Ili kama
Hakuna
group of death.
Nothing.
Yeah, lakini when all is said and done, Germany and Spain will go through. Remember, the Spain squad is so deep, they had to leave some very good people out. So I'll go with Germany and Spain.
Germany, Costa Rica.
I actually, on this one, I will go with
Costa Rica.
Spain, Costa Rica.
Germany, Japan. Arigato, Morimoto. Arigato. Konnichiwa.
Germany and Spain. Group F has Belgium, Canada, Morocco, Croatia.
Oh, shit.
Well, this is another fire group.
Yeah, I think I already know.
Hapa I will go.
Usiseme wacha tu watu mtu mwingine aanze.
Hapo amekosekana
Haya,
kama.
sawa, mtu mwingine anje basi.
Mimi naanza. Belgium,
Yeah.
Morocco. Sorry, Belgium, Croatia.
Haya.
Mimi?
Bandit.
Belgium.
Mubesh.
Canada.
Ati unasema nani?
Canada. Na Germany. Na Belgium.
Huh?
Hey,
Tulia wewe. Hiyo ni cookie aliacha. Hakuondoka nayo.
don't blame it on the cookie. Don't
Aya.
blame it on the cookie.
Ali.
This one I go with Belgium and Morocco.
I'm gonna go Belgium and
Canada.
because Luka Modric is playing, I'll go with Croatia.
It's all right.
Mika.
Mika
This one was hard.
By the way,
No.
ebuna tusome.
This one was hard. Siwache nijibie.
No, niko nasema kuna watu wana akina Sle watu wanataja manini zao.
wanachama
Tutazisoma.
Tutasoma baadaye.
No.
Tutasoma baadaye. Yeah.
Okay, sawa.
So this one was hard, but I will say Belgium
And Canada. Easy.
and Canada. I wanted to go Croatia because of experience, but they're a little bit too old. Those
Yep.
Canadian legs are a bit fresh.
Yep.
Aya, by the way, hold on. Hapa Mika read this one. Sile nasema France and Denmark.
Hiyo ni
In
katika
that
group D.
Group D.
Group D.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about FIFA? Where Tunisia? Okay. Germany and Costa Rica. Hiyo ni group Group E, yeah?
Yes.
And then Belgium and Croatia.
Yes. Group F.
Razvika ametoka Belgium. Boss, you asked me 2 teams. But so far
When is left?
Nasle amesema Argentina and Poland. Hiyo nimetaja.
Group C.
Group C.
Argentina and Poland. Haya, Mika, twende kazi.
Group G, we have Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon.
Cameroon bado na team.
Haya, unataka nani anze hii hapa?
Bana.
Sitaki watu waseme.
Wacha Omosha aanze asilie.
Haya, Omosh.
Surely Brazil na Cameroon.
Kai. Brazil sawa, lakini mimi nitakwenda na Swiss.
I'm gonna
So
copy.
you have Brazil and that short guy.
Yeah.
That
Shaqiri.
Emoro.
Ali.
Kale ka Emoro.
Hey, Omosh, Brazil, Switzerland. Game zikimalizika, let us sound back.
I'm going with Bandi on this one. I'm going with Brazil and Shaka. I mean Switzerland, sorry.
I'm going with Cameroon and Brazil.
Okay.
Yeah, Cameroon have a tendency of surprising people sometimes. So
Hiyo ni emotional.
No,
to pick.
and na wale watu wako nayo with who traveled with a team round hii si watu kucheza.
Aya, Slayer amesema Cameroon and Switzerland and Pablo. Karibu sana Pablo. Amesema Brazil and Cameroon.
What am I
Na Rasvik amesema Brazil and Cameroon. Haya, twende kazi.
I actually see Brazil and Cameroon. I see Cameroon as the African country that's going to move out of the group stages.
Okay.
Mtakuja
The team is young and it's young.
Okay.
And they want it.
Experience.
Aina ngori
Yeah,
brother.
and they want it.
Group H, I will say Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, Korea Republic.
So who hasn't started a group?
Let Bandio
Bandits.
start.
Bandia Janza.
Hapa bwana, hapa hakuna emotions kama za Ali.
Trust your emotions. Trust your emotions.
Portugal watakwenda kwa sababu ya
Cristiano na
no, sio mtu.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
The team.
ile spirit ambayo wako nayo.
Portugal na nani?
Nafikiri Portugal
They
watakwenda.
played for
Lakini
a long time.
Yeah, nitapa Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Omosh.
Portugal Ghana.
Well, if I was doing emotions, I'd say Portugal, Ghana, but I'm not being emotional. Portugal, Uruguay. Ghana is not disciplined.
Just wait.
Ali.
I'm definitely doing Portugal, Ghana. The reason why I will not pick Uruguay, remember this is going to be a rematch of that match where Ghana was supposed to go to the
next
semi.
day.
And then asamwajiana kagonga ba akwende hata
Over the
yeye.
bus.
So I think that will be present in their minds. And I think emotions will win this game between Ghana and Uruguay. And I see Ghana actually topping this pool. You can take that to the bank.
Ghana and Portugal, OneMic. Higher. Erase what it is. Oh, and Portugal, okay. Ati Omosh kuwa mpole. Slay has told you to uwe mpole.
No, Slay see me after class. You were gonna nioneaga. And in fact, I'll be outside the staff.
You know, actually, of all the African teams that have gone to the World Cup, Ghana is the weakest. So I will put Portugal and Uruguay to come out of this group.
Bam! Take that to the back, Ali. Take it to the back.
Record.
It's being recorded, brother.
All right.
It's being
Sound-
recorded.
Hii sound bite itakuja
Take
kuplay.
it to equity. Ghana will top that pool.
Zero. Nonsense.
What's the equivalent of
In fact,
equity in Tanzania?
Ghana only gonna win one game, and the only game they'll win here is a game against Korea.
No, Korea is going to beat Ghana.
Kwa hii pool,
Anyway,
they will only win one game.
Micah.
So still on the World Cup, the opening ceremony for the World Cup is, I believe it's supposed to be on the 19th or Saturday on the 19th because of time difference, but then the first game is going to be on Sunday, November 20th at 11 a.m. That's going to be the opening group match between Qatar and Ecuador. Remember, this is a World Cup where you will have games starting from 5 a.m. Eastern, and I think the latest game will be playing at 2 p.m. Eastern. So watu wa California, hey,
Wataumia.
No, but
no, Alaska, but
watu wa California are okay.
Wait a minute. Kwa game ya mwisho.
You know 5 a.m.
5
here,
a.m.
No.
bro. 5 a.m. here is
5
3
a.m. is 3 a.m. there.
2 a.m.
2 a.m.
2 a.m. there, right?
California.
And then the
It's
2
2 a.m.
p.m.
2 p.m. is what time?
It's
11.
11.
Then
Yeah.
Sai California is oops, I might reveal where I am. But anyway, Sai California is 7.
He has put
Yeah,
Now,
but no,
Ali,
it's a
tunazungumzia
3 hour,
California
it's a
State is
3 hour
7.
time difference. So the
Yes.
games are going to be at
Yes.
5 a.m.
Yes.
5 a.m. Eastern, 8
Yes.
a.m. Eastern, and 5 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. and 2 p.m.
He has pulled an Alikiba. But sorry, go ahead. How
So you will find that they'll be watching games at 2 a.m., 5 a.m., 8 a.m.
and 11.
and
11 a.m.
I think is it 11? Yeah, 11
Yeah.
a.m.
Sasa tutakuwa tumeona
So-
match mob sana. Tuko fiti.
Yeah,
They
so
just-
it's
sleep
going to be an
pattern.
early World
You
Cup.
change sleep patterns.
It's
Kwende.
It's going to be an early World Cup. It's going to be a World Cup whereby we
Because
have
we wake
seen,
up at
as
5.
Aliyah said, some teams have dropped some very renowned pros and wamebeba some young kids. But let's talk about let's move away from the soccer. Let's talk about the World Cup itself as a ceremony and as an event. Being lauded as the richest sporting event in the world, the most watched sporting event in the world, and this is a World Cup that has costed Qatar billions and billions of dollars.
Isn't this the second
Qatar
to Olympics?
Sorry?
Isn't World Cup second to Olympics when it comes to...
I think you're right.
No, World Cup is bigger than Olympics. World Cup makes more money than Olympics. It overshadows the
I think
Olympics.
you're right.
There is no sporting event that makes money than the World Cup, and there's no sporting event that is watched more than the World Cup right now.
We didn't know that, but okay.
So it's It's a tournament that has seen the host Qatar building 7 new stadiums, and each stadium has been built in its different. It is all different architectural self. There is one that resembles an Arabian tent. There's one that it resembles that Kofia Ile Wallahi, the Arabian hat is called the Lusail. It's a World Cup whereby it has been marred with a lot of controversies, and I think we should just roll in straight and start this conversation from the social aspect of it. It is a World Cup which has been said that up to 5,200 people have died in the preparations for this World Cup. It is a World Cup which has been marred with a lot of inhumanity, and it's a World Cup that has brought a lot of tears. So I think how I want to do this is I want to start with. Let me start today with a super producer. That is Bandio.
Aye.
I had to start with Bandio, and Bandio siku kuingilia ama siku kusumbua, but let's look at it. What are some of the things do you think that you have seen Qatar as a host nation has done to get ready for this World Cup? It's a World Cup which when Qatar actually bid, it was the smallest bid available at that time. Remember, they were competing against the US, Australia. I think it was the US, Australia, and I think Japan was also in the mix. And they had the smallest bid at that particular time. Qatar was just a desert country. Didn't have the resources to host this tournament, but here they are now. And what are some of the things that have changed with this country, with this, with the building of this, with Qatar hosting this competition?
First of all, I think this came out like, I'm not sure if, like affirmative action. I think was just to me it felt like they only gave it to Qatar.
Lining the pockets, but
it felt like they did that just for the sake of giving to another side and culture and all this stuff. So I think they did what they could, and it's not a soccer country. It's like they don't have that much of soccer to host World Cup. So to me, whatever it did is the gain, building all this stuff, the infrastructure. I know people are still complaining about how small the country is, how hard and everything. But the fact that they were able to do what they can to accommodate World Cup, I think it's. I think they did a lot from where they were before. Na hizo infrastructure and everything. My question is, what's next? Hasa na hayo ma stadium and stuff. That's always been a question. Unapojenga to that standard, lakini hauna league ya kwenda nayo standard. They're really good in beach soccer and stuff. Lakini soccer kawaida? No. So I'm proud na kila wametengeneza, unajua kuja kuqualify hiyo behind the scene. Kuna hizo infrastructure zote kuhakikisha kwamba they can host the guests and hotels and everything. Wame prepare kwa small country kama wao. I think wamefanya makubwa. But what next?
Well, accommodation wise they cannot support it. So they don't have enough hotel rooms for the 1 to 3 million people that they're expecting. So they have
I'm talking about arrangement. Kuwa na uwezo wa
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. In terms of
but for the accommodations and the people, what they're saying is that, and it's not what they're saying, it's actually what most people prefer. There are people who are going to be commuting from Dubai, people who are going to be commuting from Bahrain, Kuwait, and all those. Like it's one of those luxury World Cups. As in, there are people who are actually staying in countries in Africa. That is why for those people who are going to Kenya, seeing your tickets a bit expensive. You see, there are some people who actually staying in Africa enjoying a safari while they go watch the World Cup and they come back and continue with their safari. So it's one of those. That's the beauty of the World Cup. It's just that when the windfalls from hosting the tournament usually come to that region. Remember, this is one of those World Cup whereby we are seeing teams getting out of in the middle of the season, getting a 1 week break, and then the tournament starts. Usually it's the summertime, and teams have to go to a camp for nearly a month and a half. And you usually find the team have host countries where they go to practice. And let's say, like when South Africa was there, Kenya was one of the countries that was approached, that was asked to host some of the nations that are coming, just to upgrade a few stadia to allow them to have training facilities and all that stuff. But we failed. We didn't reach the FIFA standards needed, and I think was it Zambia who took our chance. So the windfall usually spreads around, and those are some of the things that we wanting to look at it, because if we look at it, the World Cup actually is one of the things that triggered the minimum wage in Qatar, which meant that the laborers working in this construction, the construction of these stadiums, got a higher pay. Their pay was increased. Their pay was increased, but still we have the Amnesty International people saying the humanitarian side of the job was not good. As we have seen, there's been an improvement in the transport within the region to allow smooth transportation of funds between the region, and that sports tourism that's happening are some of the things that were taken into preparation as they were getting for this World Cup. And I want to go to Ali. Ali, why has Qatar hosting the World Cup been controversial? And this is actually a question that I think we will have to break it down between the four of us, because it covers a lot of aspects of it. And this is one of the main reasons why this World Cup is so famous. Why is hosting of the World Cup to Qatar been controversial? Na kama kuna comments, we can start with the comments of the people who wanted us to discuss about it.
Well, the controversy surrounding this Qatar World Cup has been around. I mean, of course, there's the aspect that Bandi already mentioned, that it's a small country and it doesn't have a soccer culture, and I put that in quotes because Qataris have been playing soccer.
They do have a very huge soccer culture, though, and they actually do have a very strong league.
Exactly, and that's the reason why I'm saying a lot of these issues, are being fed to the public, because there's an entitled group of Europeans and South Americans are the ones who are used to hosting this World Cup. The Europeans in particular, were very tiffed at this thing going to Qatar, and that's the reason why a lot of Western media, they're doing documentaries and they're doing all these, media pieces and articles showing why Qatar should never have hosted the World Cup. I mean, we know the other day that Sepp Blatter, after being involved in corruption for all those years, now finally says Qatar was a mistake. So there's a mixture of that, and then there's a migrant worker issue, which you brought up. There were deaths that were involved, and that has also been amplified a lot. There's an issue with the anti-LGBTQ laws, and the fact that Qatar has laws that prohibit homosexuality. So that's being brought up as also as a human rights
and sex outside marriage. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. And of course, the anti-fornication. Of course, adultery is also in that. Here's an interesting thing. The states that you live in, if you just go and read the laws in the books of the states that you live in, they have laws against fornication and against adultery. But you'll never hear that being brought up with the World Cup coming to America. And this is where there's a lot of hypocrisy with this issue. And then, of course, there's the issue of the country being small in size and not being able to accommodate all the guests. And Micah, of course, you've explained to us how things are going to happen. I know there are boats that are going there. Some people are going to be sleeping inside of boats. There are people who are going to be sleeping inside containers. So I think they've taken care of this. And then there's also the possible bribery issue. There's some people who are saying that Qatar bribed its way into being given the World Cup. But guess what? FIFA is a corrupt organization. We know Germany snatched the World Cup from South Africa in 2006. The original World Cup that was supposed to go to South Africa was in 2006, but Germany was able to snatch it. Russia did it. So these are things that other countries do. Like it's not like it's something fresh that Qatar did. And then I'm also going to throw the spanner and say this is just racist. And of course, this is also, it's an Arab country and it's a Muslim country. It will be an alcohol-free, not necessarily alcohol-free, but like alcohol is prohibited in Qatar. So I think with soccer being a global culture, people need to appreciate that it's played in places where cultures are different. Think about even the soccer culture back in Kenya. Kenya is a very heavy drinking nation. Back in the day, people never necessarily used to go with alcohol to City Stadium or to Nyayo Stadium to watch soccer games. This is something that's being adopted from European cultures. So a lot of these people who are complaining are mostly European, and they want to act like this European culture is what is the global culture of the game. So they must accept that we have different people who play this game and they come differently. And hayo ni maoni yangu tu. Micah,
Sasa
back.
hiyo ya nani, hiyo ya straight BTQ, hiyo achana na LGBTQ.
LGBTQ.
Achana na hilo, lakini hata na hao ambao wako nani? Hata straight nao itakuwa hamna.
Unamaanishaje bandio kusema
Boss, achana na yani Micah.
Do we have any comments before to delay?
Yes. Un momento, por favor. Over here we have, let's see, both Stena weather. So, I mean, it's, is there a reason as to, so Kusile was asking, is there a reason why the World Cup did not happen summertime?
Yes,
Stephen
because
JJ
they
said
would be playing at
yeah.
106 degrees.
Yeah,
weather.
to both Stena. So those are the comments. Bandio
Ukiwa
kana
sample in
stress.
furnace.
Somebody is identifying here. Bandio kana stress. Or Slay says, I did not know this about FIFA. I feel like we've been living under a stone. Anyway, and yeah, Bandio akona stress. Micah.
Hiyo ilikuwa ni comment ya
Uno, I want you to give me the same answer the same question that I asked Ali. And Ali is for people to mind their own business. Are you in the same school of thought, or do you believe that there is some case in what the issue that people have with the Qatari World Cup?
I think I have been. I guess in order for you to qualify to host the World Cup, there are certain things and whatever you have to do. I think what has tainted Qatar is one, the being given the World Cup, but you cannot play the World Cup summertime because that is when most players are off.
But don't you think this is what is about to call it World Cup? Because to me, it looks like all these years, Qatar were watching World Cup not. It's like katika muda ambao
they're watching the World Cup. But here's the thing.
This open up about the world too. It's like kuna watu sasa wamejua Qatar.
Yes.
Wamejua other part of the world because of this. So this being a World Cup.
But I think also the problem becomes this. And I'm speaking based on what former players have presented as a problem that they see with the World Cup. Okay. Because one, okay, there's so many games that are being played. Two, so many leagues have to be suspended. So players have to worry about injuries.
Yeah.
Right? Because you are in the middle of a season, you're in the middle of Champions League, you're in the middle of the Premier League or La Liga or whatever it is.
When did they know about this?
So listen, that's a problem.
4 years ago.
4 years ago. Yeah, but
not even 4 years ago. They
when Qatar was given
8 years ago.
When Qatar was given yes.
So this is the thing.
It's a World Cup, my friend.
This is the thing. If this World Cup would have been played in the summer, right? And then we come back and we continue with the season, the players will have still played the same number of games that they played. So the only difference is just that players went for a preseason, a longer preseason this season, and then they've come back and played the season, and then it's just the dates that have changed. The number of games actually this season are less than the number of games that would have gone through a regular season.
Micah, allow me to chime in on something, because Uno brought up the issue of European leagues. The schedule of European leagues.
Yeah.
How about leagues in other parts of the world?
That's my point.
Parts of the world have had to adjust to play the World Cup.
Actually, I think that was the complaint last. What tournament was that? African nations people. CAF were complaining about. It's like they had to postpone everything just to accommodate, and it's okay if everybody else, everybody else's league is disrupted because of World Cup when it's played in the summertime somewhere, and now it's a big issue kwa sababu ni Europeans and na watu wengine wanatakiwa kuadjust kwa hii. I think to me it's a good thing. Kwanza, people come to realize sasa hivi there's so many people who knows about Qatar, that side of the world, weather, why their summer is not, other sides of the world summer, and all this stuff. This brought to light so many things. Kwa hiyo it may diversify. As I say, diversity is, respect our
I understand that, but I think, and to be honest, not in a bad way, but, when you look at, even if you're looking at the European leagues, and if you look at the persons and the peoples participating in the World Cup and the countries that are participating, there needs, we can say that there needs to be probably more, and guys have said this, there needs to be a more open participation from other countries.
True.
But right now we are looking at the countries and the peoples who are participating, the players who are participating in the World Cup and where they're coming from, and even the leagues. And to be honest, some leagues probably it's good, but there are very many leagues whose players are not going to participate or going to play or represent, and there are very many countries that are not going to participate. So the concern here is for the people and the persons and the players that are representing their countries, those guys, those particular whatever, there has to be some concern.
But my question is, how long does it take for you to adjust your schedule? I mean, they knew about this years, 8 years ago.
They knew about
they had
that.
8 years to adjust the schedule for 2022.
Here's the thing. We will argue about this, and we will not get into a better understanding because we have people who are set in believing in. Because I am one of those people who believe that if it's a World Cup and it's supposed to be hosted by different countries, it should also be able to be moved and accommodate the geopolitical climate, whatever issues of the host country has to do.
No.
I don't believe in pigeonholing.
This is not like hockey.
I think personally that the World Cup should happen when there are no other leagues going on.
But I
simple
think,
as that.
I think
but
it's just unfair to the players. It is unfair to the players.
All leagues need to adjust to World Cup schedule.
It's not unfair. It's not unfair.
All leagues should be off.
Listen, OneMic. Remember, South American League is going on at that particular time, and North American League is going on at that particular time. Asia League is going on at that particular time, and African League is going on at that particular time. So just to accommodate Europe alone, it's not fair. We were going to accommodate everybody who's playing in the World Cup.
World Cup has always happened for the longest time that we've known.
And that is why we
and it's Europeans that are driving it. What we are trying to say is that everybody needs to accommodate.
If your country is not participating, if your country is not participating at all, then your league can continue.
True.
You let your league continue.
So here's the thing.
What about the One mic. So if your country is not participating,
if your country is not participating and your players are not participating,
here's
it
the
doesn't
question.
matter.
It's the same
It
thing.
doesn't matter.
It's the same thing. If your country is not
It doesn't
participating,
matter.
and if your country is not participating,
And you-
example, Italy, when the Ligue bus.
No, waendelee.
So here's
Yeah,
my point.
that's the thing.
Uno, here's my
you,
question.
you cannot
It's like
you cannot use that. You
Waendelee.
cannot use that as a punishment. to
No,
other
it's not a
countries.
punishment.
No.
But all I'm
Okay.
saying is
Mika,
we won't agree over here. All I'm saying is
swali kwa Uno.
all we're saying is very simple.
Uno.
Yes.
Nini inatakiwa ije first? Inabidi league ziadjust kwa one event ambayo inatokea once every 4 years au
But you,
au unataka hii World Cup ndio iadjust kwa hizi ligi nyingine za kila mwaka?
Listen, if you're gonna put up if you know the World Cup is going to happen,
Yes.
even the leagues
Yes.
and FIFA,
Yes.
all of them,
Yeah.
you have to. The leagues have to function in a certain way that when the league ends,
Yes.
right? Because I'm assuming all leagues end at the same time or rough around about the same time.
No, they do not.
Then
no, they do not.
That's
That's what you are
Then
assuming.
they need to have
That's why we're telling
that.
you.
They need to have that.
One mic.
They need to have that.
We're running out of time.
Uno wazee.
No, they
You're
have
wasting
that.
your time here.
Ati nasema
Let's
nini?
move on. Let's move on.
Unasema nini, Ali?
So, Uno, we are moving on. We are moving on. So,
Mukwende. It's very true.
Omosh, I'm bringing this to you.
Oh,
Qatar has been slammed for its criminalization of homosexuality and LGBTQIA rights. We have teams around the world, including the Socceroos of Australia, who have openly recorded a video protesting about Qatar's issues with the LGBTQ. I want to ask you, Omosh, do you believe that these teams have a right to be able to be speaking about this? Remember, it is illegal to be a member of the LGBTQ community in Qatar. So far, we have had protests. Qatar are not arresting people, but it's getting to a point whereby it seems like it will be a World Cup of gauging how far people can push the regime to go. So, Omosh, this one is for you. Do you believe that people should have a right to go and protest about these issues in Qatar?
I believe that everybody, should have a right to go and protest. Now, what you have to do as the protesters is look at the lay of the land palunaenda. Rules za Qatar.
But what about if the protests are illegal in the country?
Okay, again, sasa hapo ndio pali, like again I said, wewe you can protest, but unaangalia pali unaenda kufanya your protest.
Nini?
So, because they're protesting for LGBTQ, it's their right? Yeah. But the issue is protesting. That's why I'm saying protesting in Qatar itself is illegal.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, that whole same-sex uaga illegal. In fact, what is it called? Is it called PD, public displays of affection?
PDA
is
it
doesn't happen. It's something that
it does happen. It does happen. You have to be respectful about it.
It's very subtle. You're right. It's very, very subtle. But you also do not see PDA of same sex because those things have jail. There's fines as well as jailable offenses for participating in some of those things. And depending upon probably which area you are in some of those places, some chaps can even take it to another level and say, "Hapa tutaingiana na law za sharia," being that Qatar is not that deep in terms of the way they practice religion, but there are things that you do not want to go into. So my take is that you do it at your own risk. Even if you're doing it during the World Cup, I don't think that these Jamas are going to turn a blind eye for too much longer. Once the World Cup starts, these protests, when these Jamas come up with them, those Nyangaos are going to get locked up. And what may end up happening is they'll be locked up either A, for the duration of the World Cup, so they don't protest again, or they will be deported.
And that is why it should not have happened over there, but carry on.
Why?
Wow.
Because now everyone is being all these restrictions.
But
all these restrictions.
Okay.
No.
The restrictions.
Sorry, carry on, Micah.
I want Ali to respond to Omosh.
Yes.
Okay. Now, here is another case of an air burger or a nothing burger with these countries that are saying that they're going to come and protest. Did they do the same thing in Russia? Russia has some very lethal anti-LGBTQ laws. No, they didn't do it. Did they do this when World Cups were being hosted in Eastern European countries that have some very harsh laws against LGBTQ? No, they didn't do it. That's the reason why I say Socceroos or whatever other countries are doing this. This is racism at its finest. You know, they're doing it because this is in a Middle Eastern country, it's in a Muslim country, and they just want to show that they don't deserve this. Because it's not the first time that a country that has laws against LGBTQ is hosting the World Cup.
Yep.
And these are the things that we really have to fight, because there's a high sense of entitlement and a lot of people feeling like this World Cup should have never come to this country. And there's also an element of jealousy, you know, like Qatar is now a rich country. It's doing a lot of great things.
It's Qatar is the richest country. Qatar is the richest country in the world by GDP. If you didn't know that.
And it's getting non GDP per capita.
Yes.
Not necessarily GDP, but we have to.
Yes, you're right. GDP per capita. Because of their population and the amount of money that's coming in.
Yes.
Correct.
So I think we have to be very careful before we fall into these narratives. That's why I think it was very smart of Qatar to, you know, like to build Al Jazeera, because they've been able to counter all these narratives that are coming from France 24, Deutsche Welle TV, and all these other European channels.
But you see, the thing is, hold on.
They've been able to.
But you know, when you look at
story by story.
But when you look at, you know, even a broken clock is right twice.
True.
So when you're talking about Russia, yeah, has got a very strict anti whatever. Yes. But even going into that, even when it was awarded, in as much as they were awarded, execution of such laws, sometimes it in itself, you know, you can say it is on a case by case basis. But knowing very well what, you know, knowing that Qatar in itself and the law and whatever they have on the books is strict. It being a country that observes, you know, it observes its laws and adheres to it. See, like Russia or whatever, where depending on how you play and who you play and who you are and how you are, whatever, you know, that is one thing. But on this other side, it is different. But even with these guys awarding that, then already knowing that if you award this, these are the consequences, because majority of the countries that are going or would participate or will participate in the World Cup do not have the laws that Qatar has. So you are handicapping a majority to entertain the few.
So as far as LGBTQ is concerned, what is prohibited? Kwa sababu sidhani kama anasema kwamba ukiwa gay usiingie, usicheze, ila usituonyeshe. And that's the thing.
So in other words,
here's the thing.
Don't come there. Don't do flare. Hey, how you doing? Or whatever. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that.
Here's the thing.
But then they have a problem.
Mimi sina shida ukiwa msagaji, ukiwa shoga, ukiwa nani. Ila usinifanyie mbele yangu.
It doesn't matter, but kufanya nini? Even if I don't do PDA, if I come and say, how you doing when there, work, whatever. Don't travel. Don't travel. And that's the problem.
Micah.
That's a problem.
Let's calm down.
Yeah, tampa maji.
Nowhere has Qatar come and say that LGBTQ are banned from Qatar. They have not said that.
No.
All they are saying is that you can be who you are in your own privacy.
Yes.
They don't
Just
have to.
don't do it in public where they don't allow.
Okay, then define what
I'm
is
sure
doing.
I want to protect on a person.
Define what is doing.
Doing that an PDA.
What if they're not even doing that? What if they're just walking?
One mic watch to argue.
Jifunike.
I'm not arguing. I'm just arguing.
Okay, so watch appears to again. What you're saying is this. If you went to St. Petersburg, Russia,
yes,
and you kissed your boyfriend, you will end up in jail.
Okay.
somewhere in Siberia,
Mm.
because those are their laws. If you went to Budapest,
Russia
in
mpaka
Poland,
wamemfunga mtu kwa ajili ya
if
bangi.
you went if you went to Budapest in Poland,
Angebeba hiyo
and
bangi.
you and your boyfriend
Akwende.
are holding hands,
Mm.
and you and your boyfriends are holding hands as you're walking down the street,
Mm-hmm.
you'll get arrested.
Okay.
That's a European country.
Mm-hmm.
All these countries do
In Budapest.
have major
In
all
Budapest.
all these countries do have major sporting events.
Then I won't go there.
They host Formula One.
I won't go there.
They've just hosted the
go.
Euros, and they've hosted the Euros, and they've hosted the Euros, and Russia you hosted the World Cup. But you never had anything of a protest, as Ali has said, because of this. Now, we want to move on. I want to junaangalia time pia na tuko na vitu mingi sana za kuongea.
Na swali moja Mika.
Yeah.
Hawa wanao protest wanataka nini? Wanataka waruhusiwe wafanye nini? Na hicho ambacho nataka, je, is it okay kama kingefanyika Kenya?
Okay. But yeah, so what the protesters really want is this. And this is why I usually say sports is the worst place for people to go to the activism. All the protesters say that they want Qatar to change its laws.
Sure.
Don't change.
Rules.
Just don't go. Don't change, but just don't go then.
To allow.
My fans wasiende, you can watch.
Yes.
Yeah, stay at home and watch.
Finally, uno amekubaliana na sisi.
Stay at home and watch.
So that is why this protest. And I honestly believe that you can use football as a platform to emulate the wrongs in the world. But once you use football as a political tool, then you're losing the purpose of the football.
Definitely.
We're losing the purpose of this tournament. There's so many people who just want to enjoy the games. But the tournament is being marred by a lot of issues. We have the issues of the migrant workers. We have the issues of the LGBTQ. They have said they're not going to stop anybody from drinking, but it doesn't mean that you have to become drunk and disorderly. Even in downtown DC, if you become drunk and disorderly, you get arrested.
Yeah.
I don't see why that should be a problem.
You mean Uno can't carry his
you get arrested, you sober up, you're released the next morning on your own recognition. Say, hey, carry on.
So Uno is moving.
We have to really take into consideration is fun trouble, hooliganism. It is illegal in these Arabian countries to fight. You're not allowed to fight. People aren't allowed to fight. And one of the issues that we have with soccer or football is hooliganism. This is another thing that's going to be an issue in Qatar. Now, I want to change taxi ya kidogo tu alafu I move on to the media aspect. And this one, I'm going to start with you, Bandio. Okay. Bandio, how do you feel that the coverage for this World Cup has been compared to previous World Cups? How do you feel has been the media interaction of this World Cup? And then from you, tunaweza changia sisi wengine kwa studio vile tumeona, but you, how do you feel? How do you look at it? Do you see that the whole media packaging, both from the FIFA side, Qatar side, and all the other media houses like the American media and all world media, how do you feel the covering of this World Cup has been?
Unfortunately, I think because we rely, or we just lean into Western media, it hasn't been, I don't want to say balanced.
It's been slim to none.
You know, bad coverage imekuwa mbovu. I think kuna coverage ya rugby ile ya Pakistan na India kuliko hata ya World Cup. Yeah, it's bad. Na ni kwa sababu kama ulivyosema, this turned into like political thing.
Is it really political or it's religious?
It's not religious.
There is some element of religion that is being turned around into politics.
That's what I mean.
That's why I was saying that, is it political or it's religious? Because the religion is being used to jump onto the political bandwagon.
Yeah, but they're not focusing. It's like they use religion into their political agenda. But media coverage, unfortunately, media coverage imekuwa mbaya.
In America, media coverage, if it's not something that is American, is always bad.
Yeah, if there's no, kama ina interest na Marekani.
Kidogo.
Yes.
Let me interrupt you guys together. Hiyo swali Omosha muuliza, is it religious or political? Can we save like 5 minutes to talk about it? To give us a discussion, because that's another question. And in that, we're going to cover Ali's favorite topic, the topic of bribery. How did Qatar get to us to host this World Cup?
Hiyo ni favorite kwa sababu anaifanya sana.
Yes, alafu sasa tutataini hiyo religion or political. Kujibu hiyo swali Omosh.
Ali.
Yeah, I mean, like the bribery, the quid pro quo part, I mean, I really want to get into that religious part, but I'm going to put it on pause right now. We touch on the bribery part. This quid pro quo game, the FBI revealed to the whole world what FIFA has been doing, what Sepp Blatter has been doing, what Michel Platini has been doing. So this quid pro quo, this game has been played for a very long time. So Qatar just walked into a situation where this thing was normal. It was being done. But you never had, like people protesting that, oh my goodness, like Germany bribed, so we are not going to go to Germany or Spain or whatever other countries hosted. It never happened. So I think people need to look at exactly, like what's going on here. And I'm glad that today we live in an information age when you can hide, but all this information is out there in plain sight for those who want to see. There's only one reason why these stories are coming up the way they're coming up. It's because this is being hosted by a Middle Eastern, an Arab, and a Muslim country. And there are people who just can't stand it. It's politically incorrect to say it. That's why people are not going to say it. But that's the main reason why this is happening. You have to remember, this is the first time a Muslim country is hosting a World Cup. And all these people who are entitled to it do not feel comfortable about it for whatever reason. But your bribery is only stories about Badawy, hiyo ni maelezo baada ya habari, because we know that all these other countries, have been doing this thing. So wache hizi hekaya za Abunuasi na visa vya Alfulela Ulela. Let's just go and enjoy the World Cup. Micah, back to you.
I disagree. Is there anybody who wants to rebuttal?
Is anybody who wants to rebuttal?
I disagree with Ali in terms of that.
Hapo kwa hiyo
they just walked into it.
Hapo kwa hiyo bribery, I disagree with Ali.
They knew.
Just because kulikuwa na watu walikuwa natoa brown envelopes na, well, I guess in this case it was briefcases. It doesn't mean that it was right and that it should continue.
So let me say something here on this aspect of bribery. For the aspect of bribery of the Qatar World Cup is that Qatar, at that particular moment, when Qatar and Russia, when they were going for these two World Cups, had the weakest bids in terms of all the countries that were bidding. And the bidding had started at around 2009. That's when they had showed their interest of when they want to start bidding. In 2011 or 10, at the FIFA conference in Angola, is when Qatar offered financial help to African confederations, especially what they did with Angola, and it brought the eyes of the other bidders. Sepp Blatter and most of the FIFA heads were not for Qatar, were not for Russia. But when the elections were put together, and which I believe was the first place where the corruption came in, because when they were electing, when the bids were placed and they were voting, they voted for two World Cups at the same time, for the sake so that they could be able to sell the TV rights for those two World Cups and ask for more money. And that is where, when the executive committee went to vote, and Sepp Blatter was reading the results, he was shocked himself, and he actually asked, like, communicated to somebody, like, come on, you have to smile, like, let's pretend we are happy about this. Qatar bought, and what was his name? Jack Warner, the guy from Conan Ball, the American guy was even surprised because he was surprised that there was corruption in FIFA already, but it said Qatar bought everybody. Like literally, it bought everybody, and they voted from regular voting that they were usually voting for. So it's I want to say FIFA was corrupt.
FIFA is corrupt.
It is corrupt.
FIFA is corrupt.
For
FIFA
sure.
Is corrupt. FIFA is corrupt, but we cannot excuse a wrong because people have been doing it and say that it was not a wrong. Now, I get where
kwani
he's
kwenye hii
coming
bid
from
ni Qatar peke yao ambao wali bribe.
Hapana, pia Russia walipeana do.
Okay, no.
Russia pia walipeana pesa. Wakapata hiyo, that is how the
No, I'm talking
system
about this
was
one.
changed.
This 2022.
No,
2022
2022 was strict. It was strictly Qatar.
Ni Qatar tu ambao walitoa bribe.
Yes. Oh, okay, well, are you asking if there was other nations who tried?
Yeah,
Yes,
20, no,
yes.
20,
No, kila
2022,
mtu alitoa lakini ya
Okay.
Qatar ndio ilikuwa na nguvu.
Then it looks like it's the
Yes.
system. It's the
course.
shit
No,
system, by the way.
Thank
in
you.
the system,
Yeah.
there is a system that was there, but comparing the bid, the US bid was also being pushed back on Obama. So everybody was looking at the USA bid as the best bid that was going to come through. And FIFA had given these guidelines that if you host, you have to have a certain number of stadium infrastructure ready. And nobody could actually have that much infrastructure as the UK and the US. And they were bidding for those two World Cups that were following back to back, 18 and 2022. And they failed on those bids, and that is where that corruption was highlighted, that people actually did pay for these bids and they won. Up on the issue, talk. Now, I want us to go back.
So Micah, maybe my question is, how do nation benefit from World Cup? Like Qatar baada ya World Cup ikisha, what do they benefit? What's the benefit?
So,
Oh wow, that's quite a bit.
number one benefit is
Tourism.
right now, in terms of the government of where it is right now,
Yeah.
the amount of tourism that's going to Qatar
Okay.
right there, right now, it's
Just don't be caught doing
so big,
PBA.
and it puts them in the world market. You know, some of this, it's called sports washing. Some countries use it in the name of trying to clean up their image to the world,
Okay.
because it comes out to a point where by now you look like you're righteous, because it's football acts like a cleanse. It cleanses you, and people look at another light.
Okay.
It helps you in your geopolitics later on, right? Because you people will say this country hosted the World Cup, they did all this for us. And like when we saw the World Cup in Russia, we saw a different Russia. We didn't see the Russia we see where we see it was cold, people are mean, there's just KGB walking around, everybody's in jail. We saw a happy, fun-loving Russia. People are enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
Various people from across the world went there and they were partying, and we look at Russia differently.
So we can
We
all
look at
agree
it as
that if this can be used to boost economy, tourism, I mean, it's like all this stuff, maybe it'd be a good idea to take it to other places where they're not, like Omosh say, or like you said, they don't have enough number of stadiums and everything, because at the end of the day, this will boost the country in one way or
It's
another.
supposed to
Correct.
boost.
It's supposed to boost.
It's
the
But-
country.
supposed to boost.
But
It's supposed to
unfortunately,
boost.
many countries, sorry, Mika, but unfortunately,
Yes.
what has happened with many countries
Yes.
that have hosted the World Cup
Yes.
or even had Olympics,
Yes.
their stadia, apart from, let's say, America,
Yeah.
where this infrastructure is already set and it's used.
Yes.
Other places,
Mhm.
it has dissipated. It has become a ghost town.
Yes.
For example,
Which was
Brazil.
my first question.
Which was, for example, like Brazil. Like there's a place that I think the place where Brazil was nyanduliwa the 7-1 by Germany.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone has ever gone back to that place because it becomes a ghost town. When you look at Greece, when they hosted the Olympics not so long ago, a few years, maybe like for 14, 15 years ago, however long, you know, most of the places that were used, most of the venues have become ghost towns. So it can boost at that point in time. What I would like to know is, let's say, for example, when South Africa hosted in 2010,
Yes.
those facilities, those the stadia that were used, are they still being used?
Yes, they're
those are the things
being
that
used.
those are
They're
the
being
things.
used in South Africa.
Yeah.
In South Africa, majority of the stadiums are picked up by rugby teams because rugby is a bigger sport,
By the way.
has more fans. But then we have stadiums in South Africa that are also picked up by Mamelodi Sundowns, I think, picked up one stadium. And Orlando Pirates also picked up another stadium. And then one of the stadium is a national stadium is used by the Springboks and the Bafana, and also host various events. So yes, again that
That's
is where
the issue.
countries do it wrong. Now you see, like with Qatar, what they've done, most of these structures, some of them will be dismantled and they will donate them to other countries.
Which
but then now
fantabulous.
they have, but then they also have other ones which already the clubs have bought them. The clubs in Qatar have bought them, and they're going to be using them for their regular league games.
Yeah, and let me add to this also, Micah. When it comes to Qatar, the reason why there are people who are so disturbed by what's happening in Qatar, or let me say jealous of what's happening in Qatar, is because Qatar wamejipanga. Before the World Cup was taken to Qatar, a lot of times you'd ask people what Qatar is. They don't even know if it's a country or if it's the name of, like a species of a frog. No, people do not know what Qatar is. But now they have marketed themselves, they have advertised themselves, and the world knows who they are. It's a small country. They're going to dismantle those stadiums once the World Cup is over, and they're going to take them to a different place. And of course, it's going to benefit big time from tourism. As far as the bribery again is concerned, I'm going to quote something that when Annette Karanja was in the studio and we were talking about elections, pre-elections, he said, the difference between bribery in these Western countries, like the European countries in America, and in African countries and in the Middle East, is that these Western countries have been at it for a very long time. They know how to do it so subtly that it will not be seen. You cannot tangibly say they came carrying a brown envelope, but they do it in much bigger ways. Qatar, was kind of new to this, and unfortunately, maybe like some sheikh there, some emir was seen carrying around a brown envelope, and everybody was crying, "Hey,
in a Bugatti."
Bribe. But all these other countries, have kind of been doing it, and it was kind of unfair that you would not be able to win the hosting rights if you don't play that game. And I agree, like that it should not. We should not say it's right, but there has to be, maybe FIFA should look, or maybe the auditing body of FIFA should look at a fairer way of doing this, whereby in future, maybe even East Africa can host the World Cup, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania.
So Ali,
you have failure to do that.
So Ali, you're saying, in other words, okay, because let's say Qatar has been exposed, the punishment should be less, or they should not be harassed as much because even other countries do it. That's what you're saying.
Qatar has not been exposed.
No. I mean, ideally,
you can't expose.
Because you're talking about a bribe. Okay, so bribery.
No, you can't expose. You can't expose something that's in plain sight. You expose something that's hidden. Like this is known.
Okay, so if it's known, so then you cannot defend if it's known. So it's safe to assume then that they walked into it and they did what they did so that they could get the rights.
I'm not defending it, and that's why you're getting it wrong. I'm not defending it. What I'm saying is that
look at other guys.
The same energy that is being applied to Qatar.
Thank you. Okay.
Been applied to.
So don't, in as much as you're looking at us, it
never happened. So that's the reason why I'm saying the reason why this energy is being applied here is because Qatar is a Middle Eastern Muslim country.
Okay,
that's why it's happening.
Good to know. Look at other people too. Okay, thank you.
Energy to some comments.
Okay, sawa. Haya.
Wakati Omosha anatafuta comment, unajua mpaka apate ile mioni yake ya 20x.
Yes, yeah.
Ila swali sasa, labda kwa Micah. Nani ana makosa sana katika hili? FIFA, Qatar, au culture katika football, especially when it comes to World Cup?
No, FIFA is just a corrupt organization that was brought into the club. And this rotten
Are we
football.
blaming players ambaye anacheza game ambayo system yenyewe imefanya game iwe
I will not.
corrupted?
I will not blame the player. I would blame the thing. Is most of the players are not even getting most of those millions because my players pia wanatapeliwa.
No,
Right?
when I say player, I mean, are we blaming Qatar for the system that has been established na imekuwa enhanced na FIFA ambayo imewawezesha wao kufanya hivyo?
So this is how it happened.
Yes.
When Qatar, and this is why there is, I don't think if this is really appropriate, but this is where there's a bat itch. This is where there's bat itch regarding Qatar. The thing is that Qatar decided it will campaign for its vote to individual members of the executive committee who are supposed to vote, who are 24 of them, right? So what they did, and when the voting were done, two of them, one was Nigerian and another from Haiti, were actually suspended because they were caught soliciting for a bribe from Qatar at that particular time. But I think for them it was just wrong. They didn't know how to ask for it. It is rumored that PSG was bought by Qatar in regards to this World Cup bid. It is rumored that the reason why Qatar Airways flight a bunch of Airbuses is because it was a bribe to the French Federation and the French government for getting the French vote. It is rumored that there was I think there's a pipeline to Thailand or something for gas. Qatar got that gas deal based on getting their vote. So it is rumored that a lot of geopolitical moves that have happened over the years and businesses that have happened between governments and Qatar, like Qatar being the main sponsors of Barcelona and all that, are all result of this bid. Is Qatar paying for the bribes that you're supposed to issue in this bid? So that is the reason why there's so much bad heart in regards to Qatar. It feels like there was a structure of people who were eating at that particular moment, but Qatar decided, Qatar walifanya hivyo. That's what that is why you see there's so much bad heart that is in regards to Qatar having this World Cup. It's not that things Qatar is being accused of are not in other parts of the world. They are in other parts of the world.
Where Micah, there's one thing that has not been addressed. I don't think we have done that because amongst the laws, they put out a law. There's a law in Qatar.
Yes.
That talks about fornication. Meaning,
before we go there, let's even do comments.
Okay, do your comments.
Some are comments.
Some are comments before I address this,
so
because
just says
your fornication, to find your fornication before comments. I'm at the comments.
Comments kwanza wewe.
Ameamka.
Alijeta like imekwisha.
Imeisha, deadly.
Fornicator. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
So DJ Tuchame said, well, FIFA isn't corrupt. It works on compensation basis or on commission basis. It's not a bribe, guys. It's called lobbying. Washek Ndirango says, Qatar needed the World Cup to sanitize itself. Slay says, DJ Tucha, so lobbying basically is countries paying to host the World Cup / Olympics. Na Elelotsa Kasema, why is it that when it comes to other continents, we bring all these excuses? Yet when it was Africa, none of this BS came to play. Qatar will demolish most, if not all of these facilities. Some will be restructured into creative corridors.
South Africa purely bribe. But let's move on.
Boss,
No. Boss,
They came
out later.
So Slay says there's a lot of reading I'll need to do on FIFA and this process. And DJ Tucha answers Slay and says, Slay do lobbying is a generous term for it. Sasa watu wanaongea between themselves. I'm not going to read their stories. Watu waende wakapate nini yao, corridor yao. Okay, so Washington Drango says the Europeans are just upset that the Middle East are producing better products in general, and Europe will start competing for tourism dollars with them. Just look at their airlines. European carriers can't match them. And I think she's right somewhere about that, because everybody knew that the Middle East, when you want to go to Middle East, wanaenda wapi? Dubai. Qatar was a place that people just had kwa mtandao. Now guess what? Wanaenda huko. Na Qatar is beach friendly. Everything there is beaches, dhows, sijui nini. ask me nimeenda na kuna katua watu wanaweza fanya ukienda na nini.
Ndio ile last
Qatar
time we were
Airlines.
undisclosed. Okay.
Yeah, it's $14 for a 3-hour tour. Bus tour of Qatar. Beautiful.
Never know, I might be in Qatar.
If
Never
you
forget
ever get a chance,
Tulia.
take it. If you have a long layover, or you see you have a long layover, take it so you can go do the tour and go do the tour.
You need a layover that's more than 24 hours.
No, you don't. I did it, boss. My layover was 12 hours and I was able to do that tour because it also depends on when you get in. So the last tour is at 8 p.m. So
Tuende sasa hivi unakwenda kwa choo.
Tuende kwanza, kuna comment za Steven huko.
Mimi niko huko niulizeni.
So
Steven nchi sio Qatar Avenue.
Sleodor akasema hii game ni rough. Steven JJ
9/11
Kenya kwanza moves at Slay at how much I had a layover for 8 hours. Yes, you could have done it in your layover for 8 hours. What you do is you walk down to the desk for Qatar Airlines, you let them know you want to go for the tour, they tell you about the tour, unatoka na kale kabakako, or you take your bag and you check it into one of those ninis.
Do you need a visa or you have to have the passport?
No, if you have an American passport, you're
okay,
good.
thank you. Make sure you clarify that.
Yes, so it
No
all depends
science.
on what the visa requirements are to come out. But they take you around from the airport in a bus, you go, you see mosques, the stadiums, blah, 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 and all sorts of different things. You see the DAOs.
Unashuka unapita tu kwa ndege.
No, wanashukisha. Okay. So you get to certain stops, unashukishwa, you walk around, then you get back in the bus, and in the bus they give you water, kuna mabiskuti, yes, it's actually, you even go to the market, unaweza buy shisha, unaweza buy spices, all sorts of those things. I've done it. That's why I'm saying that it's something that is possible. So Slay, you could have done it in your 8-hour layover. Lakini you decided not to check with Ali before you traveled because Ali normally has a blog over here on the show and he tells you how to travel when you're going for rugby, when you're going home, how to get back if you're going to Zanzibar, kama unataka kwenda Fumba ukanunua nyumba and so on and so forth. Stay tuned. Back to the studio.
Real quick, I think what Washeke said is just kind of summarizing the whole scenario.
Correct.
The Europeans are pissed because Qatar is eating their lunch. They're eating their tourist dollars because the money, when people were going for these tours, it was mostly Paris, mostly
Ati what? Ati what?
Paris.
Jesus. Hey, you go Qatar.
So you go Qatar.
You go Qatar.
But now, inaitwa Qatar. Qatar. Yeah, but sasa people are going to Qatar, people are going to Dubai, people are going to these other places, and of course the airlines, that's the biggest, the most obvious
place. Those airlines
but anyway, let's say this. No, as we wind up, listen. What are the Qatar sex laws? It's very simple. Laws surrounding sex and non-marital relations will be enforced for the World Cup. Qatar officials confirmed. Do you
have problem with that?
Any acts deemed as excessively intimate by authorities between men and women in public can lead to arrest.
In public. Ukitaka kuyafanya chooni.
And enclosed. I'm in the stadium, I'm in the bathroom.
See, those stadiums have rooms.
Yes.
Kuna zile stadiums unafunga curtain.
Kuna watu wanalalamika.
So
watu wananyanduana kwa public.
I think what Tucha said, unfortunately, here's the thing. We have exhausted what if World Cup is happening.
Yes.
It's happening in Qatar.
Yes.
They've got laws on Sharia zao. All you have to do is just follow. So Ali, at your undisclosed location, please behave and trust me. There'll be no bail money there. We'll see you after 1 year.
This is Qatar.
Sawa, bro.
I want to give everybody here the assignment to Kadogo.
Yes.
Sahi, right?
Yes.
Just Google fornication laws near me.
More than Igaifafa.
Yes. Yes, very good assignment.
Fornication.
It means it's a fornication
laws near me.
Na listeners muziandike kwa comments zile mtaona.
The people's
watu waseme like this Middle East.
What are the
ila mimi
So in other words, okay, hold on.
kama ulivyosema Uno, it's like ulijua unakwenda miaka 8 kabla, umekata tiketi unakwenda, do your homework and it doesn't matter unakwenda Kenya, unakwenda Qatar, unakwenda wapi, event ni ya mwezi mmoja, uwezi ukabadilisha sheria za miaka yote kwa ajili ya just your World Cup.
Nimegoogle, hold on. So
naangalia
crimes against marriage, Maryland People's Library. Higher, hold on.
Generally, adultery is defined as voluntary sexual intercourse between a married person and a person other than that person's husband or wife. That's what they consider cheating in marriage.
Okay, so now here, Micah, you know, if you do whatever you do over there in Qatar, do what you're gonna face 6 months, $1,000. Do what? Fine. Adultery. Maryland law prohibits adultery. Adultery is a misdemeanor offense punishable by a $10 fine.
However,
prosecutions for adultery are rare. Maryland law does not provide an exact definition for adultery. Generally, adultery is defined as voluntary sexual intercourse between a married person and a person other than that person's husband or wife. Haya, bigamy. Because umesema
Paliniko anasema ni felony. It's a felony offense.
Sasa wewe kaa huko. Wewe kaa huko.
Kumbe wewe unakataa ya US.
Ngoja, I want to give you another assignment. Kila mtu mali yuko. Google, is oral sex legal?
Sasa hiyo ni nini?
Sasa hii this freak
man.
No Google. Maze Mika hizi Google search zako.
No.
Is oral sex.
Ali, unajua nini?
Omosh ameshapata. Okay, Omosh 20.
It's the same thing. Google uone.
Here we go.
Omosh iko nayo kwenye nani? Kwenye
nobody, Maryland has some weird laws, you guys. Nobody, including me, likes to follow damn rules. Unfortunately, Maryland's legal code is chock full of some pretty bizarre laws and regulations. Here are some. Oral sex is illegal in Maryland.
It is considered sodomy.
Giving and receiving in Maryland. Yeah. If you live in Baltimore, it is illegal to take a lion to the movies.
So let me ask you something. This is part of what
usifanye fanya nyingine explore.
So basically,
sasa ukiwa kwako chumbani vile tuliambiwa na watu wa Qatar.
Ndo nasema. Qatar is the same thing, right? You go and misbehave in public, you'll go to jail. If you do it in the hotel room, ama paliuko, nobody will bother you.
Hiyo nitadonate kwa serikali kufunge.
If you go and have oral sex in your house, no one will bother you.
Yes.
If you do it in public, is when you'll realize it is illegal.
Actually, Mika, unakumbuka kuna kipindi Virginia, kuna mtu alifungwa miaka mingapi kwa sababu alikuwa yuko naked wakati madirisha yako wazi. Yuko ndani ya nyumba yake, yuko ndani ya sebule, lakini dirisha alikuwa hajafunga. Yuko uchi, alienda jail. Virginia. Alafu watu wanalalamika kuhusu Qatar. Mimi kwa kweli Qatar nasema, kama unaenda Qatar, soma sheria, fuata sheria. Kaa pale kwa mwezi mmoja, si ufanye tu ni mfungo.
Don't be like Brit Griner.
Bas,
alitumalizie.
Ila Brit ni banks.
No, you know, like, and I'm glad, you know, like this I'll say, first of all, this has been one of the best sports segments. And I'm gonna say it because, you know, like,
undisclosed location.
It has got people thinking. It has got people thinking a lot. Oral sex is illegal in 18 states. You know, like,
correct.
We sometimes, you know,
it
like, listen to
sodomy.
The media talking about countries in Africa.
So it's being black. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
And their laws, when we know that for a fact that a lot of these laws were actually adopted from European countries and places like America. So this supports my hypothesis that the reason why all these vitriol, all these negative features on Qatar were being pushed so hard by different media houses was because of the fact that it's an Arab country, it's in the Middle East, it's a Muslim country, and it's eating the lunch of European countries. Mika, back to you.
So, closing up this segment, I just want to say that let's not forget what the World Cup stands for. Let's not forget what the tournament pre. It is a showcase of pure talent. We have young men who have dreamt all their lives of playing in this tournament for the first time. We have so many people who find solace and peace in just watching this tournament. And it's a time whereby the world come together. We know that everybody has their own political issues. Every country has its way, and we can never please everybody. If you live in this world one day that you want to please everybody, utakufa.
Yep.
You will not be yourself.
Yep.
So let's just stick to what this tournament is, which is a total footballing showcase. Remember, Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar, Mbappe are just few of the talents that are going to be running up and down in those fields. And to bring it back to the studio, Uno tusome comments, alafu tumalize hii segment.
Okay. My mother, Jesus Christ. Okay. Where do I start? Qatar Airlines.
There's nothing there about oral copulation.
Oh,
sorry.
Kenya Kwanza. I just saw Kenya Kwanza because how Omosh I had a layover for 8 hours. Okay, you addressed that one. Yes. I said Bahrain, wamekataa kwenda Qatar. Mimi naitwa umeshikilia hiyo story ya Seges.
Sio Seges.
Listen, Seges ni muhimu. Let me tell you.
Ndio maana uko hapa.
Wewe. Second to eating. Washeke na none. Second to eating and sipping. Hiyo
usinge kwa unasikiliza OneMic.
Wacha nikwambie the shama uliawe hawe. Okay, sorry. Bandio hebu Google Micah na homework. Lawrence versus Texas 2003. Government actors cannot intrude into and criminalize these personal actions. Higher fornication laws cannot be enforced in Texas more than higher. Namuchunge, because elections have consequences. You know, they're talking about, you know, that they have the Dobbs decision, but now that one of interratio, whatever.
Mimi na pendekezo.
Oh shit.
Nina suggestion.
Yes.
Kabla pendekezo lako Bandio, Slayer amesema Mubelwa needs a speaker of the night award. Haya, twende kwa pendekezo.
Yani all this time the Jama's never been on this show, she's never praised us. Then the guy comes here for one day. Night. Then she nini.
Hiyo ni kama vile
she praises and gives him MVP.
Huyu ndo anakwenda kuprotest na nikata.
No, that's nonsense. How does she come over here and give the guy MVP? He's come on one quarter of a show.
Hold on. Chips the chips, waru ne waru. Na wahenga walinena kilicho na mwanzo hakina buda.
I told you, in fact, I'm not going to be outside the staff room. I'll be outside class.
Meli imetia na let's wrap this puppy up.
Siku moja.
We are wrapping it up, Madasoka.
Yeah. Siku moja, tuje tufanye show kuhusiana na hizi crazy laws. Yani Mika ametoa assignment hapa. Nimekuta kuna laws iko Baltimore huko. Boss, nafikiri tutatakia tuje fanye show nzima ya Did You Know? Alafu huko, kila mtu alete vitu. 2023 tutafanya Did You Know moja.
Did you know laws?
Kuna laws ziko humo, my friend. Kwamba uwezi kwenda hata kwa pocket ya mtu akiwa amelala.
Kwanza wanawake vile wanapenda kufanya hivyo nonsense.
It's illegal.
Wanawake vile wanapenda kupapasa nonsense. Wanachukua fare supposedly na simu yako, na alafu wanajaribu kufanya fingerprint na
hata kutema mate.
Atia. Aya Mika, twende kazi gadhe. Basmati babes. Wait, by the way, you know Basmati babes?
No, mimi si
wale wanakoroga na moshele in your drink, wanakuanga mchele kwa drink. Tanzania mnaita nini? Bugizi.
Yeah.
No. Oh, Mubesh. Oh, sorry. Basmati babes. Haya, make a wrap it up for us, baba.
Niliokoka, sijui haya.
Na si Trojan. Wrap it up for us.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been another wonderful Friday evening. We've been here. You happy hour. Wewe mnunua tiketi za kwenda Kenya, kama hujanunua shauri yako. Wale umesialia hapa na sponsor watu kwenda disclose location. Atanunua zote.
Ali, Mika, those tickets are fucking expensive, bro. Guy, more than.
Why you didn't have to cast? Why did you have to cast all
this? Sorry, Mika, wrap up, baba.
Sasa itabidi tumesensa hiyo part. Anyway, just to let people know that it is a good sporting weekend this weekend. We have our own boy, African boy, Israel Adesanya, defending his belt. Yeah, UFC belt. It's a rematch. And We hope he keeps whooping and he whoops this guy's ass again so he can retain that belt. And also last week for the EPL before they go to the World Cup, hey, unfortunately or not fortunately, but kudos to the Arsenal. They've still held that number
Maze,
one.
raundi hii watafika
Wataendelea
Thanksgiving kawa kwa top. Jesus. Hatutapunua.
tutaendelea hata
relax.
Christmas, watakuwa Christmas tops.
Ai
It's
bana,
Boxing Day.
Hatupumui.
Mhm.
Jesus.
So
It's not working psychology.
No.
It's not. Reverse psychology is not working.
We're not gonna pumua.
asiweke kwa chest, aweke kwa lungs, ataumia. Anyway,
Hatutapumua.
just want to tell everybody, enjoy your weekend. If you're drinking, don't drive. Be careful. Omriko nimerudi round 2, vaeni mask. Watu wa booster, ongezeni booster. Be careful. Watu wa Kenya tukakutana Kenya. Washeke 15 rooftop ama namna gani?
Haya.
Haya, bye.
Oh shit.
Hizo ni codes.
Omosh.
Hizo zilikuwa code.
Oh,
Hizo
sorry.
ni codes hizo.
Ni wewe ama ni this guy?
I don't care.
Okay.
Yoyote yule.
Sawa.
He's the visitor.
He's the visitor,
At
okay,
MVP.
Haya, sawa. Eh.
Slayer ende
Haya.
huko.
Slay.
Speaker of Angoa.
Nani anakwenda?
Ni wewe.
Ni mimi?
Wewe,
Yes.
All right, Slay. Asante sana. Kwa wote wale yes, ilikuwa show nzuri. Tumegusa kidogo ajali. Sijui kama ni ajali lakini kuna ndege ilitua kwenye maji watu wamekufa. Kwa hiyo too bad. Kwenye sports ilikuwa safi. Shukrani sana kwa wote, shukrani kwa Micah, shukrani kwa wote ambao mmetufuatilia. Ilikuwa vizuri na tukutane tena next week. Tutakuwa hapa kama kawa, kama dawa. Tunakuwa ndani kama
SIM card.
ndani kama SIM card. Tunakata kama wembe mkali. Yes. Zaidi hapo muendelee kuwa sawa. Mika amesema Omicron imerudi, vaa mask, jikinge, wakinge na wenzako. Naitwa Mbelwa, tunom kama sama nakulinda Peter Bendio, mwana ma Paulina baba wa Paulina. Kwenye Rego naita Ras Twin Rasi ama Rasta ni real African soldier. Twin, si mapacha ni twinom kama japo anafuatao. Ni mapacha. Alamsik.
Well, I don't even know how you're supposed to follow that. Even me, I should be trying to speak faster. But then if I can speak like that, then I'll just be eating my tongue. Meanwhile, asanteni, mabibi na mabwana na mafans na watasamaji. As usual, you guys are always with us. We really, really thank you guys. We are coming up to, holiday season, Thanksgiving, giving thanks to, being alive, those who are around us, having jobs. Unajua, this chap called COVID came and disrupted us kiasi, but I see we are trying to get back on point. Wale watu wa kwenda Kenya, like Mika said, get your tickets. Some of us are in that. I don't even know how we get them. Yeah, I'm looking for a sponsor. Slay, please. My cash app, tutatuma hapo kwa link. With that said, thank you. To Bandit for staying up with us. We really appreciate. We joke
Thank
about
you.
it, but we appreciate. We know what you have to go through and what sacrifice you're making to be over here, and we don't take it for granted. So thank you. Once, twice, 3 times. Thank you. As usual, for the quality of the show that you produce for us, so that our audience out there, gets to see things. Sorry for the hiccup that we had earlier, lakini kuna hii kitu itwa copyright, and that thing sometimes kicks our matacos. We try as much as we can to prevent it, but it does happen. Kwa hayo machache, ntawabidi kwa heri. And before I go, those who have Kenyan passports and they're not e-passports, this is the month that the e-passports, that the non-e-passports expire. Unless we get a continuance. Again, let me say it slowly. Those who are holding non-e-passports, they are expiring, all of them, regardless of the date, at the end of November. So if you have not renewed yours by now and you plan to go to Kenya, it is not going to happen. So plan to make your way to an embassy, a consulate, and get a travel document one way. Na uwe na mtu kule Kenya ambayo utamtolea hongo ili upate hiyo passport ya kurudi. Or you plan a longer vacation. With that said, we will talk to you guys. Oh, there's also FET. Unprecedented FET tomorrow. Yes, there's FET. Kesho. DMV. Last one of the year. It's a special. It came out just like that. There's FET. So, kama ujui, umejua. And we have a whole slew of people who are coming into the DMV: Ali Kiba, Zuchu, Kofi Olomide, the West African Sita Wataja, because I'm not giving them any airtime, but they are there. Come 3 of them coming into town. So yeah, with that, I bid you adieu. And I think next week, hopefully, we will have our hit or miss. This hit or miss has become a casualty of war. Peace. I'll see you. Ali.
Okay, asante sana, DJ OmoshFaya. This was a fire episode. These sports, man, sijui kama niyo FIFA World Cup, but this was one of my favorite, like sports segments. And I think we just need to be looking at sports sometimes in this ways. I have learned so much, like I'm hoping also the listeners have also learned quite a few about our own country here in the US that we don't know. And and I'm really appreciative of this. And for those who have stayed with us until now, I think you guys are the most loyal fans and you deserve to know where I am. I'm actually in the state of California. I'm in San Francisco. So kama kuna mtu yuko karibu, like na anajua where people go. Unajua saizi ni saa ngapi huku? Saizi ni mapema bado, ni saa 2. Yeah. So kama kuna mtu yuko karibu,
umekwenda kwa Paul Pelosi.
Yeah, ingia hapo inbox. Tukatafuta ule jamaa alikuwa anataka kumgonga Pelosi kwa magoti. Ule alienda akamwataka mume wake huko. So yeah, so if anyone is in the Bay Area, and nimesikia kwa I think Samido atakuwa huku this weekend. I'm not sure, but kuna mtu amenigusia atakuwa huku this weekend. Tutajua hiyo hapo kesho. But I want to thank Micah, for that very exciting sports segment. Bandio, nakushukuru sana, for the insight you gave us on the tragic plane crash in Bukoba, and hopefully the people who are responsible will be brought to account.
Hopefully.
Watatimuliwa na watafunguliwa mashtaka. Na kwa hayo machache, yeyote ambaye anataka kunipigia simu, nambari yangu bado ni ile 1-800 mteule. Na operator akishika simu, mwambie unataka kusema na mjukuu. Na akikuuliza ni mjukuu yupi, mkumbushe ni mjukuu yule wa Masai. Because I'm Kenyan by blood, American by design, Masai by choice. Sichagui, sikagui na sibagui. Kwaherini.
Aiden, Daddy loves you. Njeri, Daddy loves you. Nimo, Daddy loves you. Until next week, be blessed. DJ Macha